TruthSeekah and/or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and/or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark savage!
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff!
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, TruthSeekah. This is the TruthSeekah podcast. Excited and delighted, as always, to be with you all, be with the community, be with the tribe, and talk about spirituality, spiritual topics, the topics at hand. I think that everything that exists in this world has some type of function in the spirit realm. Anything that you do has some type of repercussions. The things that you do in the physical world, also the things that you do spiritually have physical repercussions as well. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about how to tap in. Bunch of really cool stuff. Make sure if you guys have any questions or comments that you post them in the chat for today's guest or myself, and buckle up. It's going to be a really good one. Want to say a huge thank you to everybody supporting my work via Patreon. This is a listener supported, listener funded show. Doesn't exist without your help. So huge thank you, gratitude from the bottom of my heart to everybody co-creating with me, helping me bring this to the masses. You guys rock. So everybody supporting on Patreon. We just hit a new month, and there's a bunch of new people joining. I'm gonna give a shout out to some of the people who have joined within the last week or so. Shout out to David Wright. Thank you, David, for coming on. I see Dylan Mason with us, and yeah, everybody who's joined, man, thank you guys. And if you'd like to support, go to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. What you get access to? Well, you get access to my entire discography of music. You get access to our Thursday night School of the Mystics, Sunday morning breath work, guided meditations, all that cool stuff. I try to make it worth your while, and there's a bunch of different levels and a bunch of different perks that you get access to. Make sure you check it out, patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Also, what we got going on, coming up, we have one of our retreats in November. We have the Reset, Refresh, and Renew with myself and Illuminati Congo. And we will be doing holotropic breathing, breath work, Kundalini yoga, hiking in the forest, stargazing, CE5 initiative, and just linking with the tribe, man. It's something that's just so beautiful. I wish I could do it every weekend. I wish I could do it every day. But I think, you know, the further we plan these out a little bit, it helps to keep it sacred. Something that is not common, something that we just visit every few months or so. So for those of you who are interested in this retreat with myself and Illuminati Congo, go to TruthSeekah.com and you can check out all the event info there. Today is October the 5th. Tomorrow, for those of you who are on the live stream, if you're listening to this on the podcasting apps, it's already going to be available. But my new album, White Magic, is going live on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you listen to and consume your music, digital media, it's going to be there. Super excited for this to come out. Getting some ideas about music videos and graphic art and all that cool stuff. Just released the new White Magic t-shirt. It's at TruthSeekah.com as well. Super excited. It's been a while since I put out a full album. So for those of you who want to check it out, you can go to the website, go to Spotify, wherever you listen to music. It'll be available there for you guys to check out. And for everyone who was pre-ordered, the physical copies aren't in yet. There was, I guess, some kind of delay from the manufacturer. I'm waiting for those to come in any day. And as soon as they come in, I'm going to sign those, autograph those copies, and send them to you with the sticker pack and all of that. If you did pre-order, you do have access to the digital copy already. So make sure you check your email. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's conversation. My guest today, my friend, Derek Januszewski. Derek, welcome to the TruthSeekah podcast, my friend. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Good to have you, man. Gonna get to pick your brain about plant medicine and all the questions that I have about it, genuinely have, and hear about your story, your experiences, and what's going on in New Hampshire. When we talk about plant medicines and specifically ayahuasca, Schedule 1, you get caught with it, you get found with it, most people think you're going to jail. There are some stipulations, there are some legal exemptions, and you happen to be I would call a pastor of the church church in New Hampshire, the Pachamama Sanctuary. And I want to talk about that, man, your experiences and all that good stuff. So let's just cover really quick just the legal aspect of it for people who think that they have to fly to Peru or leave the country to actually go on a ayahuasca ceremony and retreat.
Yeah. So this is a multifaceted question. First of all, you did mention that there are some churches that have exemptions. We are not one.
Okay.
There's only two. There's the UDV and the Santo Daime, and both of them had to go to the Supreme Court of the United States to receive their import and manufacture license. And ever since then, there's been no cases that have actually gotten to that point because they're just not going after legitimate churches. So ayahuasca is a Schedule 1 narcotic, meaning that it has no medicinal value and it has a high likelihood of abuse. I don't agree. But that's what it's scheduled as now. So the other part of it is the First Amendment allows us the freedom of religion to practice as long as we don't harm or disrupt our neighbors or put them in danger. And then there's the free exercise clause, which is talking directly about the freedom of religion, that sort of paints the government into a picture, into a corner. If you read this document, it's very clear they have to stay away from our rights. And with the FDA and all these other organizations, there's administrations and agencies that are in control of different aspects of our life, but there is no Department of Religion or there's no department that rules us, right? So it's a separation of church and state. So under the First Amendment, we are protected to be able to utilize this as a sacrament as of now. Eventually the DEA might come knocking. We've got our paperwork in order. I'm expecting I'm probably going to have to end up in court at some point, but as of right now, they're leaving us alone. We're public. People can find us. We're not hiding, and we're doing everything by the recommendation of our attorney of keeping everything contained inside the walls, so nothing leaves. We don't have anything shipped in except for just plant matter. We brew our own sacrament here, and it never leaves here, and it's never served outside of a spiritual, religious setting, in ceremony only.
Awesome. How long have you guys been a church and been practicing?
So we've been practicing. Our first ceremony was February 2019, and we finished our statement of beliefs, our doctrine, and filed for our nonprofit about a year ago. So for the first year and a half, we were underground. We were just, holding on by our fingernails. But that's when we actually established ourselves as, as a sanctuary. Sanctuary is another word for church, just like temple and mosque and whatever.
Awesome. So with your retreats in the church, the only sacrament that you guys use is ayahuasca?
That is our only sacrament, right? That's it's the easiest way to protect ourselves against the government, but it's also what we truly believe. It is the way that we can connect with God, the way that we can connect with our inner spirit, great spirit, higher power, the universe, whatever you want to call it. That's how we connect.
Awesome. How many facilitators do you guys have as far as leaders are concerned?
So we have some that come through that are traveling. They come from Brazil, Colombia, Peru, Mexico, whenever they're coming through. And then we have 2 that come here regularly. So we have 2 main ones, Taita Hector Ortiz and Freddie La Rosa. And then we invite traveling. We have some Kofan coming. We have some Iwanawa coming, some Hunikuin coming. We like to,
Nice. That's awesome.
be a nice sanctuary for a lot of different places or people.
That's so cool. As far as using the sacrament and having groups come in for these retreats and stuff, what are some of the experiences that people are having? Like some of the breakthroughs and stuff.
Yeah, so experiences are very unique to the person. It's a very intimate relationship that each person has with the sacrament. So it's based on their soul, my soul. So when I drink, I see what I need to see, and I learn what I need to learn based on who I truly am and what my path truly is. And so each person needs to see the truth in a different way. For me, mostly it's no visions. It's just an emotional journey with a lot of downloads. And I come out with just understandings of why I was feeling the way that I was. Other people, and I've had this experience too, but this has been past. Other people see entities coming in and doing work on their body, doing psychic surgery on them. Other people just see fractals or eyeballs everywhere, like millions of eyeballs, like the Alex Gray art. And the key is that every single person has their own experience, and so there's no way to really communicate it. It's like trying to describe the color orange to somebody who was born blind and had never seen anything before.
For sure.
There's no explanation. It's an experience that must be had.
For sure. Now, as far as, the experiences, vary for, what that person needs or, where they are in their life and their religious beliefs. Like a lot of different things come in as far as how they're going to explain it. Now, are there people who come and participate and nothing happens? They don't see, feel, or hear anything? Because there's some people who feel like they may be kind of cold to that realm, or this stuff doesn't happen to them, and they try it, they want it, but there's no breakthrough and they're looking for it. Is this something like if you show up, something's going to happen?
It does happen on occasion. And this, down in the jungle, especially in Colombia, they call it a nada. It's when you come and you don't see any visions and you don't have any experience. Now, the Colombians have one way of looking at it. They think that is one of the most powerful experiences because you couldn't even go into that realm. It had to download and do its work physically, and then in there without you being able to see it because it was big work. I mean, who am I going to argue with 2,000 years of understanding? But some people just don't connect to the medicine through their consciousness when they come, but it's rare. I would say maybe one every other, maybe 1 out of 50.
Wow.
One out of 30 to 50 don't have an experience. Our sacrament's very strong.
Nice. So with, with the different experiences, right? Whether it's a visionary journey, an epiphany, a deep download, overcoming the fear of death, overcoming so much stuff, we hear testimonies about, like, what are some of the stuff that people are overcoming? Like I've heard, opiate addiction, heroin addiction, fear of death, like all of these things that it's really changing people's lives. What are some of the different stories that you've been privileged to hear about people's breakthroughs on that front?
Yeah, I mean, my story is pretty interesting. I was abused on all levels when I was a kid, all the way up until I, moved to Florida, and then, so I was sort of programmed for abuse, and ended up with an abusive mate. I sat with the sacrament because I had gotten addicted to cocaine and methamphetamine. It was a 10-year really, really deep, kind of a low bottom addict. And I came to this medicine to lose my compulsion to use. I didn't want to use, but the compulsion was so strong that I'd be driving over to the house, to the man's house to go pick up, like yelling at myself, "You don't have to do this." And my body would just do it anyway. And I'm not unique. This is not a unique situation. I've had a bunch of people tell me, I was ready to go home. I had a bottle of pills on the nightstand, or I had a steel jacketed antidepressant ready for myself when I went home. And then I get letters from their family. There's a lot of addiction that's helped, a lot of PTSD. And that's really a huge one. I see people's behaviors change, so they don't react out of trauma responses anymore. When somebody upsets them or something doesn't go their way, they don't freak out or get upset, or it doesn't ruin their day. They start to just enjoy their experience of life, in a very active way, in a very present way. And so small stuff doesn't bother them anymore. And then my favorite thing is when somebody finds their Dharma, or finds their path, and pursues it, because when that's happening, they've realigned, and then the small stuff doesn't matter. They can deal with their emotions. The reactions are easier to avoid, so that because they're living for something bigger, and their soul's on the right track.
That's awesome. That's my story with psilocybin, honestly. It totally, what I'm doing today, I get to wake up and do what I love and help people heal, and work on beautiful music that is about healing, and a podcast that is about healing, and write books about healing and blogs. And it's like, stepping into that, I was in a place where it seemed so far away, and it was like a pipe dream that, you need to grow up and leave it behind and go get a job at the mill or whatever, someplace that pays more money, and, do something that you don't like, and there wasn't any leads or anything that was like, hey, it's possible to be a 33-year-old rapper full-time and be able to make money or do guided meditations or whatever. And the medicine definitely helped. There's plant teachers. There's like, it's, and I know there's similarities with psilocybin, right? I know they're two different teachers, but there's definitely some similarities. And that I credit that and the book The Alchemist, like, together. When you have them together, it's just like, it's a concoction to launch you and to give you some directions as far as downloads, writing stuff down. I need to do this, I got to stop doing that, and just really introspective, like, view of yourself from the lens of God, which is like a loving lens. And hey, quit beating yourself up. Stop being so hard on yourself. Enjoy life. You're doing great. Then there's greater things to come. Is that what happened to you? Did you find your dharma, find your passion and that whenever you received your healing, and like, I need to be doing this. I need to make this my life's work.
It's funny. The medicine has a sense of humor. I went to a retreat after I worked at a church down in Florida, and then yep, it's SoulQuest, and I love the place. There's mixed reviews out there. I can tell you the people that are operating and running ceremonies there are very heart-centered. Forget about some other stuff. I mean, if the ceremony seemed too big for you, then maybe that's a reason, but don't you're safe there. It's a safe place. So I had my last relapse there, not at the church, but when they took a 3-week break, and then the owner found out that I had relapsed, and so he fired me. And so I went back not knowing what I was going to do with my life, because that was everything I had. That was all of my friends and my family, and they had their own lives going on. So if I wasn't there, what was I going to do? And the medicine told me that I needed to open and operate a music venue, because music is my favorite medicine, like 100%. And so this last couple of years have been a little rough, not being able to go see some live music.
Yeah.
But so I'll skip a bunch of the little parts, but I ended up hosting a mushroom ceremony for some people up in New Hampshire at this place called The Hive, which is an arts and wellness center, which is basically a music venue. They had music festivals and all of this. So I said, well, I got to come back here. And then somebody 2 days later, when I went back to Florida, said, hey, can you help me organize ayahuasca retreats? And at first I told them no. But eventually I ended up moving into The Hive, which was a music venue, and hosting events that were very heavily music centered around, guiding people through the experience. And, I thought I was going to be having like an amphitheater and hosting Paul Simon and stuff. But that's how it got me, thinking in that direction and following that breadcrumb.
Yeah. I think that, the two are so related, the bliss and the healing that comes from music, even if it's temporary, like as far as, when you're listening, but it creates a safe space for you. And mentioning concerts and getting out, stuff like that. I have Metallica and Tool tickets for the next couple of months. So I'm excited about that. It's a beautiful experience tapping in through that, especially, the stuff you see at a Tool concert, right? You see in those realms, which is very interesting. You mentioned Alex Gray and stuff like that, and the visionary experience, which is amazing. And I feel like it does something for your art, makes people more creative. And just look at Alex Gray and what he brought to the table, and not just him, but so many people who are painting and getting inspired, after having a ceremony,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just had an amazing piece of art given to the sanctuary last Thursday. Unbelievable visions that some of the people are having, and their artwork is just exploding. Absolutely.
Now, we'll go into that a little bit more too, and talk to you a little bit about some of that other stuff and the realms and teachers and all that kind of stuff. But I guess just a few more technical questions and stuff about a retreat for somebody who's new to this, right? Set and setting, that's something that you hear. I think there's another S people throw in there, but set and setting is big. Where you are, and like you mentioned, music, like the type of music you're listening to, like all of that comes into play. We hear about like ayahuasca songs that people in Peru would whistle and sing and stuff like that to help facilitate and to calm you down. What is key about finding the right place, the right venue, a place that is set up to cater to that experience?
Mm-hmm. So the number one thing is research the place and the people that are serving. Don't think that just because somebody crossed your path that's your call, that you were called to sit with them. Okay. There's a lot of people that are serving medicine across the country that are not safe. And so if you engage with somebody and you go and you sit with them and you just think you're safe. Oh, sorry.
I'm here.
Okay. If you just think you're safe and you don't know you're safe, then that's going to affect your mindset, your set, right? The setting should do the rest. And if you walk into a place, the setting should be serene. It should be loving. It should be accepting, and it should be very very obvious, you know. There's all kinds of different places that can look all woke, but you know, they have had bad experiences, and they can be found on the website. So going in knowing you're safe, and then you walk in and see the setting, you know, that's really the big part of it. And then I recommend rapé before ceremony to quiet the mind, and to move into, you know, a surrender state before you even drink the medicine.
That's awesome. Now, what about fasting and stuff? There's a lot of people talk about trying to fast, or maybe or even stop eating meat maybe a week before if you can. Like, you hear some of those stories. What's your take on fasting before you would prepare yourself to have the experience?
Yeah. So the dieta is important. It's cleaning out your digestive system so that you can do the work on your mind rather than the body spending so much of its resources just cleaning your digestive tract out. And so this means, you know, avoiding processed foods, dairy, heavy meats, and salts, really, like salts and refined sugars. Okay. So, and we recommend 2 to 4 weeks. You can still eat chicken, you know, you can still eat fish. Don't eat shellfish. Those are basically garbage filters for the ocean, you know. You know, just eat good, clean, whole food. Just eat that, you know, more plants, less animals. And you'll have a much better time. You'll spend less time in the bathroom. As far as fasting goes, if it's not a part of your regular routine of fasting, I don't recommend it. There's no reason to fast. It's not going to stop you from purging. It's not going to stop you from vomiting. You know, if you need to get that energetic purge out, you have to get it out. It doesn't matter if you've eaten and not eaten in a month. You know, I had a ceremony where I was finishing up a 46-day water fast, and I still purged. So I fasted for 46 days and I still purged. So
so you know, talking about purging, and you know, people talk about, you know, doing number 1, doing number 2, throwing up, you know, cleaning yourself out. Is that across the board, or is that just kind of up in the air for each person?
It is up in the air for each person, but it is, I would say, I mean, it's the desired result. It's an energetic purge. It happens to come with fluids, you know. Our digestive tract, when we're going to the bathroom, that's one thing. That's the body, that's the medicine cleaning the body of toxins and garbage. But purging from the mouth, yawning, crying, laughing, shaking, twitching, stretching, all kinds of different things. These are all different types of purges. It's energy leaving the body that is no good for us anymore. And the biggest, deepest purge is around our gut. There's so many, you know, nerve endings in there, and there's so much that we carry in there. So if we can get as much energy as possible out, and then that's good. That's good. And I'll tell you, it's not like throwing up when you're sick. It's like this release and relief. It actually feels incredibly good.
Wow.
So it's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, you hear similar, you know, talks about that kind of purging in religious groups and stuff, and people, you know, so coughing up a demon or hacking up a demon is what I've heard it called, and people, they have that purge and they feel like something happened just in spiritual circles, not even with the medicine. So as far as, you know, vomiting up something like that and feeling a release, like, hey, this thing was with me, it's not with me anymore. And that was some type of way that it came out, and maybe a way that it came in with diet and stuff as well. Like, I've heard stories of a friend of mine talked about, and again, it wasn't with ayahuasca, it was with psilocybin, but, you know, going in, and the main thing that kind of showed itself to him and almost plagued him was a cow. Like, the spirit of the cows would visit him, and, you know, it was like, why are you eating me? You need to stop and stuff. And that was his experience. And, you know, but obviously if you're not, like you said, if you quit eating it up to that point, that's not something that's gonna, you know, haunt you or plague you. So I think most people who are listening to a podcast like this are already like doing that inner work and trying to you know what I'm saying, do the work on themselves to get rid of anything that's, hurting them. And so when it comes to purging and letting things go, it's like, okay, what else do I need to let go? And so the medicine would definitely reveal that, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of people, they can look into their bucket and know what they released.
Wow.
I'm carrying resentment from my father because he was never around when I was a kid. Boom, it's in the bucket. Now I can leave it in the bucket. I don't have to carry it home with me.
Wow. That's amazing. Good stuff. Well, Derek, we're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back in about 3 minutes or so. And we're going to get deep. I want to talk to you about some of the fun stuff. Like we kind of went through some of the legal stuff. We went through how to do a ceremony, what to expect if you're looking to do it. And but I want to talk to you about the spiritual side. And we hear about the machine elves and communing with plant teachers and teacher spirits and vibrations that are behind the plants and working with them. So we'll get deep on the other side of the break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after this.
Elementals are different. Elementals are really strange. I've seen elementals. I've had one-on-one experience with elementals. I don't know exactly what they are. All I know is what to call them. But I've had incidents where I have been in the company of elementals. They're spirit creatures like fairies, and the Irish are very big on talking about the different fairies and the different magical little creatures. Leprechauns, I have seen gnomes and leprechauns and fairies. These are what we call the elementals. They are legitimately life forms, but they don't live in the world you do. They live in a different kind of world, an elemental world. But we call them the elementals. It's quite a subject. Life outside of being a human. What is life like in the spirit world? And that's what you're talking about in your book.
I explore these concepts and more in my new book, Spirit Realm: Angels, Demons, Spirits, and the Sovereignty of God. Forward by Jordan Maxwell. Available now at TruthSeekah.com.
Hi folks, I'm Santos Bonacci and I'm now tuned in to The Awakening. Music is one of the most powerful expressions of truth that we have. It is a very powerful consciousness expander and a great medium for transmitting truth. Check out the work of TruthSeekah at TruthSeekah.com for some great and powerful consciousness expanding music.
Self-medicated, I was contemplating psilocybin. I know they hate it, but Mother Nature prescribed it. Look within while meditating in silence. Step into the inner core, either through the iris, yeah.
Aloha. Aloha to you. That's what's good. Thank you. TruthSeekah says, what's up? What's up? TruthSeekah and myself, we had a deep ass conversation. It was a long ass time ago. I smoked one. I went off. I went crazy.
The TruthSeekah podcast, it's the best podcast. I mean, it really is. I've heard a few, and his is the best. They debunked the prophecies saying, I was your president. I'm not. I'm really not. But keep listening, and you will learn something cool. I'm sure of it. Like, really sure.
Bar $20 to the mall.
You're listening to the TruthSeekah podcast. Now, back to the show.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're going to go deep. Got some more questions for you, man. There's some opening up questions from the chat as well. For those of you who are listening on the live stream, let me know. Post them there in the comment section and we'll get to them. Pachamama. I've heard that term a lot. I feel like it means Earth, Mother Earth. What is the significance of that that term because you have Pachamama retreats .org and the name of your sanctuary. What's that word mean for people who don't know?
So Pachamama is an ancient deity that's been prayed to. It's also she also goes by the name of Gaia, and it's kind of the mother of all creation. So it's sort of the mother of Mother Earth and the mother of Mother Nature. It's kind of the creator of all that we see, taste, touch, and feel in the 3D.
Would you say that as far as plant teachers, right, there's a spirit, there's an essence, an idea, there's ancient knowledge to be imparted behind, working with plant medicines and plant teachers? Is that the teacher that you're communing with through ayahuasca, or would that be a different essence, or what do you feel on that?
Yeah, so we revere Pachamama and the earth as a deity, and being able to commune with that and be able to commune with God are kind of one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And there's a question here I want to ask you too. Someone says, this is from Dylan, he says, is DMT similar to ayahuasca? Is it similar or is it the same thing? Does ayahuasca have DMT in it? Like, is there a difference there?
Yeah, so this is a great question. DMT is there's various different forms of DMT, but DMT is in ayahuasca. It's obviously in NN-DMT that's vaporized. It's in 5-MeO DMT. It's also what psilocybin breaks down to. It's the same molecule, and it looks almost identical to a serotonin molecule. It's got that same ring of 6. And, if you look at the serotonin and DMT molecules next to each other, you'll see there's one atom difference. It's almost identical. The brain thinks it's serotonin. And so the DMT taken orally will break apart in the stomach, and the body won't do anything with it. So ayahuasca has an MAOI, which protects the DMT molecules so it can actually be absorbed. Whereas in psilocybin, the stomach breaks it down to psilocin, and the psilocin goes into the blood where it's broken down into DMT, and that's how it's orally active without an MAOI.
So to make ayahuasca or prepare it for ceremony, you have to take two different, is it a plant and a bark or a plant and a root, and mix it together and combine it for consumption, versus I can just take these ayahuasca leaves, is it, and partake them, and if you did, it's not going to do anything if you don't have the inhibitor for it?
Yeah, so the ayahuasca vine is where the spirit is, and it's where the MAOI is. Then there's a leaf from a different plant called chacruna or chalapanga, and they're boiled together in a very specific way over a 3 or 4 day period. It's a very specific way to cook it down, and there's recipes out there. What ayahuasca is not is Syrian rue and Mimosa hostilis. That's a different medicine that some people call ayahuasca. It is not. But it takes two different plants, and these are very, very different plants. So it's the vine itself that's cut up into small bits and boiled with the leaves of this other plant that come from another place in the jungle. How they figured it out, I don't know, but that's the only combination that creates this medicine.
And so you would boil it to drink it, I guess, and you don't smoke it, right? You just drink it.
Right. Yeah, it's boiled into a tea. So there's so it's boiled into a tea and then concentrated down so you can drink a small amount and have the experience. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you'd have to drink like half a gallon of it.
Okay, so but when it comes to DMT, people talking about doing that, you smoke DMT if it by itself, so that it's different.
No, well, I mean, it's the same molecule. It's the same molecule. In ayahuasca, DMT molecule is there. When you smoke DMT, NN-DMT that's taken from the Mimosa hostilis, it's the same molecule. It's this entourage effect that you have with ayahuasca. All kinds of different. It's like cannabis. You can't just take THC out and you know, take a pill of Marinol or Dronabinol and have the same experience. You can't. So it's an entourage effect, but the main thing is the spirit that's in that vine. You could probably take all the same molecules, create them in a lab, and make ayahuasca in a lab, but it doesn't have the spirit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, most of the stuff that's created in labs anyway, whether it's, you know, Tylenol and aspirin and all that kind of stuff, it came from a root. It came from a vine somewhere, right? That has healing medicinal properties. It's kind of the same thing. So again, you know, the question's interesting. I remember, you know, is DMT similar to ayahuasca? You know, my first encounter with psilocybin was with 2 grams, 2.5 grams, and it was just in a float tank, sensory deprivation tank, and just a lot of epiphanies, a lot of unpacking, and not much visuals. Like when I would close my eyes, I may see cogs and different things like that, and maybe sacred geometry, but it wasn't the biggest thing. It was the download. It was like, hey, we're ready for the next level. There's some things you need to get clear on, write it down, and let's move forward. And so that was huge for me. And it was more of a philosophical thing. It was like the epiphanies and pontifications of things. You know, me and a friend of mine, we just deep wisdom, you know, that we're able to access and speak to one another, and even speaking and sharing it was like healing each other, you know, and it was beautiful. And so that was my mind. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. And I did a couple of interviews and stuff like that on people's shows, and I was almost speaking as an expert on plant medicine, and doing 2.5 grams of psilocybin, and people, how was it, man? I'm scared. And okay, this is what it was. We ended up planning another retreat several months later, where we did 5 grams of the golden teachers. And as me, you know, acting as this expert, a one-time thing, you know, and we go in, and I'm expecting the same thing, you know, this really just life review and kind of, you know, combing through my life and getting clear on some stuff. But it got weird when everything just started like shaking and vibrating, and like start to see the fabric of reality and like this webbing connecting all things together. Then I got sick. Then I started throwing up, and I was like, have I been poisoned? Because it wasn't like this last time. Like last time was very gentle and blah, 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 this kind of stuff. And I ended up like leaving my body and going on a journey with the golden teachers. And it was interesting because it sounded very much like what someone says ayahuasca is, like this really big journey of the universe. We hear about that. You don't hear too many people talk about that with psilocybin, but I experienced it. You think it was the DMT, which is, you know, it's one of the molecules that's within all of this stuff, because I thought I knew, and I was shown, and it definitely humbled me and opened me up to a lot of beautiful stuff. But I seen the similarities that I wasn't expecting at all. Like, you know, the walls breathing and being sucked into portals. It was about 5 or 6 of us, and it was all synced on key. It wasn't just me. Like, we came back, we'd look at each other, and then we're like, all right, get ready, here it comes again. And we'd all go in together and have a very similar experience, and we'd come back together and look around and try to explain it. Is that similar at all to ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca is a solo journey. There are some people that do have shared experiences, but for the most part, it's very individual. She keeps you very focused on yourself and in your own journey. Mushrooms are unpredictable in certain ways. You can kind of set an intention for ayahuasca, and, you know, usually you'll get an answer to it. She's not a short order cook. You can't just, like, you know, come up with a list of stuff you want to know, but you have one specific intention. She'll usually show it to you. And then she'll show you what you need to know, whether that was it or not. With mushrooms, you can set an intention, but the mushrooms have a mind of their own. They'll take you where they want to take you. So sometimes it's that shared experience, and those are fun. I've had those. And sometimes it's a very deep experience inside yourself. And sometimes you just melt into nature for 3 or 4 hours. But an interesting thing about your dosage, psychedelics are exponentially, they're exponential when you take more. So taking 2.5 grams taking 5 grams is not the same thing as taking 2.5 grams plus 2.5 grams. It's more like taking 2.5 grams times 2.5 grams, or well, that's not the right math, but you get the picture. It's an exponential intensity.
Somebody here in chat ask, is your necklace tiger's eye?
This is not tiger's eye. It's emerald in the matrix, and it's a third eye pine cone.
Nice.
It's crushed emerald melted with copper and made into a stone.
Yeah, pine cone, very, very powerful symbol. It's revered in the Vatican as well. They have the courtyard of the pine cone and the pineal and the third eye, and all of that stuff's connected for sure.
Yeah, maybe it's because Amanita muscaria grow under the pine trees.
Yeah.
But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I think we've had several people on here talking about the similarities with Amanita and the iconography and sacraments as far as communion, Holy Communion, and it's taboo and blasphemous for my Christian friends. We got a lot of Christian friends, but hey, it's nothing's off the table, to explore. I wonder what else it is if you was to partake of this communion, and if you partake of it and you're not worthy, that he says there are many that are sick among you right now because you have taken the sacrament and you're not worthy. Your hearts aren't right. I know, just like you said, you'll have your experience. If you have trauma, if you have hurt, if you have guile against your brother, and if you're doing business immorally and you try to tap in through that sacrament, you're going to have to deal with it. So there's some really interesting scriptures that definitely point to that these sacraments could have been psychedelics for sure. Beautiful subject. Now, what about the machine elves? We hear about the elves, and you mentioned people having experiences of beings doing work on them. I remember somebody's story, Amber Lyon. I listened to her on Joe Rogan, and she has reset.me and just all of these studies and stuff about psychedelics and how they're helping people. And she mentioned of like seeing these little elves on her body and repairing her DNA and pulling trauma out of her and things like that. And that could be where that iconography comes from of the elf and things. But when, interdimensional beings, machine elves, on psilocybin, I definitely, on the Golden Teachers, felt like two beings introduced themselves to me. Didn't tell me their names. I just refer to them as the Golden Teachers. And people, meet these beings. You can call them angels, helpers, Santa's little helpers. What's going on with that stuff? Is that in our head, or is this something that they have a mind of their own?
So I think that people see what they need to see to learn what they need to learn, and they're going to come out in a bunch of different ways. I had an experience very early on where I had this giant mothership coming at me with a bunch of different arms, and it was robotic, and the colors were sort of moving around, but it had this kind of structure with all this like go-go gadget arms with different tools on the ends of it. And it came and it kind of was by me, and it opened up all these tools, and it was kind of like observing me in all these different ways. And then it flew over me. And then when it flew over me, I could see into the middle, and it just kind of, like I could see all the way to creation through the body of it, and then it went over. And I was always interested in, I want to see the machine elves, right? And I never seen them, and I hadn't heard anybody talk about like little elves. So I looked up what it is, and what I saw was a machine elf. They show themselves in a bunch of different ways. They can look like psychedelic beings. They can look like machines. They can look like animals. Like somebody came this past weekend and said that one of them with a bunch of tentacles came on, and they put the tentacles in their nose and mouth and all of their places to like kind of work inside their head. That was a machine elf, and they look all kinds of different ways. But I've never heard of anybody other than Amber saying that there's little elves running around anywhere of any size. It's very individual relationship,
Yeah. Now, what about, mentioning Amber, and hearing Aubrey Marcus as well, talking about having meetings with deceased relatives who have passed on, and bringing closure and things like that. And obviously, like you said, this is whatever you need, it can and will happen, right? Like, have you heard any other stories of that?
Yes, that happens almost every week. And sometimes it's not a direct like a direct connection where they see their ancestor. It's just, you understand that the presence is there. You just know that the presence is there.
People who want to know how they can get involved, how they can come out, and you mentioned every week. Are you guys holding these sessions every? Is it a weekly thing? Is it monthly? How often are you doing them, and how can people sign up?
So we have retreat at least 3 weekends per month. Our website has the registration on it. It's very easy. My direct line's on there too. So anybody has questions, they can call. But right now we're booked until December. Yeah, we're booked in December until December. We're going to do 3 weekends in December, and then we're going to take 3 or 4 weeks off over the holidays and come back in January.
How many people are usually a part of a ceremony a week?
During the summertime, we've had 30 to 34 most retreats. For a while, we were only doing 26, and then our team got stronger, so we expanded a little bit. In the winter, we have to come inside. It's New Hampshire. So right now it's looking like smaller groups for the winter of 17. Unless we can add some space, we might go to like 25.
Nice. How's the weather up there right now? October 5th.
I mean, I love the weather all year round here, but the weather right now is in the 70s, 60s and 70s during the day, 40s and 50s at night. It's getting ready to pop with color on the trees and get real fun. Get real fun.
There's a question here asked a couple times, so I guess we'll address it a little bit. Kevin is wanting to know about, have you ever had a flashback while drug free? If yes, how did you handle it, please? So is that's something you have to worry about with ayahuasca, of having some type of flashback? Because it's different than just recreational drugs, right? We wouldn't even have the same conversation about abusing them. You mentioned that you can't abuse them earlier, just like somebody would abuse opiates, or people try to abuse a lot of different plants, marijuana and things like that. And you mentioned you can't abuse it. Can you speak to those topics for a moment?
Okay, so I won't say that you can't abuse it, but it's got a built-in anti-abuse stuff. Every time you drink it, it tastes worse, and it's not an enjoyable experience. So if you want to taste some real nasty stuff and have an uncomfortable experience all the time, you can probably abuse it, but it's not really, when I said I don't agree, I just don't agree that it's got a high propensity for abuse or addiction. As far as flashbacks, flashbacks aren't like flashbacks. When you're in the power of the medicine and you're connected with that spirit, it's uncomfortable, it's very powerful, and you understand that you are, especially afterwards, you understand that you're connecting with something very beautiful and very regal. And so occasionally when meditating, sometimes the body heaviness will come in and a little bit of visions will come in, but it's almost welcoming it. It's kind of nice to get a little temporary visit. It's not intense, it's not scary, and it's not going to pop up on you when you're driving. If you have to be in your mindfulness and intentionally looking inward for her to show back up and give you another gift. So it doesn't get scary. It's not going to randomly pop up when you're at work and all of a sudden you're tripping face. It's nothing like that.
A couple more questions I got for you. how, like, what's the spiritual process that you guys teach, as far as like, could you get in on the website you have a FAQ and you go into a lot of different stuff, but like, is this something that you'd want to prepare? Is there breath work? Is there guided meditations? Is there mindfulness? Do you guys encourage people to kind of get them ready when they get there, or is it like, hey, we're just going to let the medicine do what it does and it's going to show you everything you need? How's y'all spiritual tradition connected there?
Yeah, so a lot of people come without having much understanding of what their spirituality is and what mindfulness is. And so, we come here to practice our spirituality. We come to practice. But if somebody doesn't know how to swing a golf club, somebody's got to show them physically how to put their hands on it and how to swing the club. And then they can go to the driving range to practice, right? So we do give them some tools ahead of time. We talked about the dieta and preparing your body. We also encourage people to reduce the amount of social media that they consume, reduce the amount of television they consume, listen to positive and uplifting music, and, be more mindful with all of things that they're consuming coming into it. And then they can come with whatever spiritual minds and ideas that they have. We welcome everybody from atheists to Buddhists, all across the spectrum. And it's not up to us to tell you what your spiritual beliefs are. Mm-hmm. It's up to us to open the door for you to find them or deepen them.
Awesome. Another question here from Tiffany, and she says, what's going on due to COVID? And so some people who don't want to be close to other people at a retreat like that, is there any restrictions with COVID? Is there distancing? Like, is there space between with 30 people in a facility like that? What's it like?
Yeah, so we require a test within 7 days of coming to the sanctuary, and we give a very specific set of instructions. And we send an email explaining that we are playing as a team here. We're keeping everybody safe here. So gas up your car the night before, in the morning, take a shower, get in the car and drive straight here. Don't stop at a gas station. Wash your hands over the last week extra, and be safe and be careful. And when you're here, there's no masks, there's no social distancing. We trust the medicine, we trust God, and we trust each other. And so some people that's uncomfortable for, and so this isn't the place for you. And eventually some solution will come to this, whatever this is. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you'll feel more comfortable and more safe. If you don't feel safe, don't go sit with the medicine. It's that simple. It's going to mess with your head, and it's going to create a more difficult experience. For sure.
Setting again, like you said. Now, how many nights is it? Right, we hear different things. Like, does it start on a Friday night, Saturday night, go home Sunday? Do you take a dose every night? How does it work for that setting and setup?
Right. So, people show up around 5 o'clock on Friday. Our first ceremony starts between 8 and 10 on Friday night, and we serve multiple cups throughout the night. So you can go as deep as you want. I caution people against the, I can, like, I want to go deeper. There's no pause, fast forward, or rewind, but we serve 3 cups over the course of the night. And then we have ceremony again on Saturday night. So throughout the day on Saturday, we have sound healing, we have shamanic breath work, we hike, we paint, we play music together. We bring out different tools for integrating the experience from the night before and getting further connected with the group around us, so we can even have a better mindset coming into the second one.
Oh, that's awesome. So Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday wraps it up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We close the circle, have a final integration circle, and then we serve combo for those who want combo.
Okay. Awesome. So combo and rape, you mentioned rape is, beautiful tobacco to work with. I use that to ground a lot myself, so definitely it's awesome that you offer that too. Sleeping arrangements, is it a big dorm, or their rooms? What about sleeping?
Yep. So the ceremony space is where everybody sleeps. We have a 4-inch memory foam mattress for everybody, with sheet, a pillow, a blanket. We encourage you to bring your own blanket to make your own space more yours and more comfortable. But yeah, we make it very comfortable, and we have somebody up 24 hours a day throughout the whole weekend, because we love everybody, but we don't know everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a big part, again, the setting, and know those people who you're laboring with, because there's horror stories out there. Even I mentioned Amber Lyon. She has horror stories about going to Peru. I mean, there wasn't much research out there for places like that to go on Yelp and look up some of these places, and so she mentions getting groped and stuff like that by shaman in Peru in the rainforest and stuff, and it's like, or Amazon or wherever she went, and she took multiple trips. But you hear those horror stories, and like you said, like, you can go online and look up some of those stories to do your research about where you're going, and especially when it has anything to do with something spiritual, you definitely would want to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of information out there about enough places, because some places there's no information out there, and maybe they're fine, but maybe they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of information out on quite a few different centers, and that you'll be safe there.
Awesome. Well, Derek, thanks for coming on, man. Plug the website one more time, and the next available openings and all that good stuff, how people can get in on one of these retreats with you guys.
Yeah, it's pachamamasanctuary.org, PACHAMAMA sanctuary. I'm sorry, I just flubbed that. It's pachamamaretreats.org. It's retreats with an S.org.
Yeah, the links will be in the description wherever you're listening to this at, so you guys can go click on it. And so I'm looking at the site now. You click book a retreat, and does a calendar come up for the dates you have available, or is that how that works?
Yeah, so everything up until December is full right now. So the first ones that I have are December 3rd through the 5th, and December 10th through the 12th, and December 17th through the 19th. I have space in all of those, but some of them are almost full. We may be opening some more space up in November, but I'm not sure yet.
Awesome. Well, Derek, appreciate you coming on, hanging out with me, man. Enjoyed picking your brain about working with the plant teachers, and specifically ayahuasca, and opening up your retreat center. And man, if anybody has any questions, you can go to the website. There's a bunch of stuff on there about the spiritual stuff and FAQ, all that stuff. Just go to the website, check it out, and hit my man up. I need to get with you about bringing a crew up there myself, man. Some of my people will host something there. That might be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to come as a group, I can just make a private weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds
Thanks so
good,
much,
brother. Thanks for coming on, bro. We'll do it again. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Many blessings. Derek Januszewski, ladies and gentlemen. I think I butchered the last name, but you got it. Just go to his website, pachamamaretreats.org, and check it out, man. If you need a life-changing experience, definitely check it out. Getting clear on your vision, getting clear on your life, and overcoming trauma. It's not, some people would say that it's a shortcut. No, there are no shortcuts. You got to do the inner work. Having a vision is one thing, but actually doing the inner work on the information and the knowledge and what was shown to you is a whole nother thing. So once you have the experience and have the encounter, you're illuminated. You're shown things about your life that you may have been sweeping under the rug or pushing under the bed. And so you're able to see those things. It's like, wow, I got to take inventory. You have to examine yourself to see where you are in life. Man, I've been doing this. Man, I need to quit doing that. And, to approach that from a loving, God, consciousness, earth perspective that loves you and wants the best for you. That's the energy. You hear those stories all the time about people who have had those experiences, and it's changing their lives. And even many celebrities are coming out talking about it now. Celebrities are talking about how it's changed their life and helped them with addiction and helped them with kick alcohol and overcome the fear of death and all of those things, man, to get clear on it. So For those of you who are brand new to this, make sure you listen to some more interviews. Go to the website, check it out. Definitely something that can change your life. We'll be back after this. If anybody has any questions, any comments, you want my take on anything, make sure that you post it in the comment section and I'll answer them on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. Wow, so the throne room meditation, man, this was just like a new level for me of creating encounter. Really the process behind it is going in for myself, having an encounter with the Lord, tapping into the Spirit and getting in His presence, and really just petitioning the Father's heart and saying, God, what would you say to them? If I'm bringing these people with me here, if they're doing this guided meditation and we're going through this journey, we're having fun, we're seeing things, we're experiencing new feelings and emotions and sensations, what would you say to them? So it's channeling the Father's heart and relating it back to the people. So man, it's just a beautiful encounter. And I remember when I wrote the first one, I was so excited about it, and it was just God speaking to my heart. I was able to channel the Father's heart, and I would read the script to people because I was just so excited while I was working on it. And every time that I would just read the script, the presence of God would just invade me, and I just burst into tears, and I couldn't even read it. I'm just like, let me copy and paste it and send it to you. But every time I listen to it, I'm immediately translated back into the throne room of God, and everything's good there. That's the place where everything is okay, where in the scriptures it says that we are to hide under the shadow of the Almighty. This is the throne room of God. This is the place that we can encounter for ourselves, but this is also a place in which we dwell. So a part of us is always there, and we have access to that. Now there's people who have never encountered this before in their life, and it's a totally new experience for them. And almost every time I get a testimony back from someone, they just say how God wrecked their lives, that they didn't know what they were getting into. The next thing they know, they're in the presence of God, wrapped up in His glory. He's communicating His love to them, and it just totally wrecks their lives. So make sure you check out the throne room guided meditation visualization that I brought to the table.
There are things that go bump in the night. Pull up a chair. Don't be scared, for you have many friends unaware on the TruthSeekah podcast.
TruthSeekah podcast.
TruthSeekah.
Self-centered.
He seems like a nice guy.
You're listening to the TruthSeekah podcast. Now, back to the show.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
All right, and we're back, ladies and gentlemen, for the closing moments of the podcast, where I can come on here and hang out and answer your questions. If you have any, say what's up, kind of go on some little rants and let the Spirit speak for a few minutes, man. Shout out to everybody hanging out in the chat right now, and see all of you guys. Lisa Patterson, Fred Lynch, what up? Dylan Mason, Stephanie Jones, Gavin Joseph McDonald, Tiffany, Janice Rogers, all of you beautiful people. Mystic Eye 369, Richie's here. What up, bro? Jeannie says, what kind of tea is he talking about? He's talking about, yes, ayahuasca. Yes, Rasta, we gonna process out the lunas. That's Illuminati Congo. Ayahuasca tea. That's what we're talking about on this episode. And I've never had ayahuasca. I've never been able to say hello, but I have several times with psilocybin, and very similar experience from what I've encountered. A beautiful experience. When you hear stories, it's like, wow, this was very similar, but it's not. It's something different, right? It's its own. There's teachers behind the plants. Like each plant has a teacher. Like listen to my song "Golden Teachers." I try to weave some of that in there, and even in the outro and the samples that are used, there's some knowledge that's in there as well. Brittany says hello. Kevin's here too. Shout out to you guys. Brittany says, that's not Brittany. Binoy Patil says hello from India. Hello from America. Hello from Alabama. I'm going to be going to Orlando tomorrow. Headed out to a retreat there with Dan Oskopinski for his birthday. We're going to be doing a little bit of everything. A lot of mystics in one place together. So I think I'm going to do some music. I think we're going to do some meditation. We're going to do some prayer. I'm going to just do some flowing and tuning in and speaking over people. It's going to be good. I'm excited to see a lot of people. And a lot of my other friends are going to be there too. A lot of the other, Christian mystics, I would say, and excited about that. So that's going to be in Orlando. If any of you are there and you're listening to this and you want to say hello, hit me up. Maybe we can meet. I'm supposed to actually meet with Daniel Adams. Daniel Adams is picking me and my wife up from the airport and get to meet him, have dinner with him and his wife. So excited about that. It's somebody who's really close to me and my life, and we haven't met in the flesh. We met in the spirit, not in the flesh. So I'm excited about that, to go see him and then hang out with Dan and everybody who's going to be there at the retreat. It's going to be good. What can I speak to? I don't see many questions now, but I will say this: like, what am I going through? What's been in on my heart lately? I'll say this. I'll leave you guys with this. Be careful who you allow access to you and people that you allow to speak into your life. Obviously, with growth and things like that, and being a social figure, anybody has access to me right now. You can email me, you can send me a voice snippet on any of my platforms, and I'm most likely going to hear it. You can write me a message and I'm going to get it. And I have people, because I'm such a polarizing character, of who people think I am based off of this podcast of interviewing a guy about ayahuasca. I've never done ayahuasca, but they'd say, "Why are you promoting?" They give me an ear lashing, and they have access to speak into my life, and I hear it, and I don't need to do that. It's not good for my mental or spiritual health of just people. Anytime they want to take a shot at me, they have free access to me. So I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on social media, as far as just as a regular account on Facebook or whatever. There'll probably be some type of other protocol to be a part of my circles, to be to ask a question, those kind of things, whether it's here on the live stream, maybe not even that. Some people get on here and troll as well. So maybe they'll be filtered through somebody. Richie usually joins and pulls comments for me, and that's coming from the chat. So maybe that'll be something, but there has to be a barrier of entry for people who get to speak into your life. So that's what I've been contemplating and actually dealing with for a while. But with growth, it happens. It just happens, and people can send me messages that they shouldn't be able to. They don't have the power and authority to speak into my life. I don't know these people, so you just get to vomit out your opinions about me, and on a forum or searching or doing videos, that's one thing. But to actually send it to my inbox, and I have my phone in my pocket and it dings, and there's a random person telling me all of this stuff about going to hell or whatever the case is. No, you don't get to do that, sir. We're past that. So I'm way past that. So with what I've got going on now, just to be honest, there's growing pains with that. There's setting up, barriers in my life of people you need to talk to first, and they have to say, okay, we'll let this question come through. You want to talk to TruthSeekah? Listen, join Patreon. That's something different. I'm definitely in my circles right now. Patreon is definitely a way to interact, and I definitely try to respond to those questions there. Dylan, I see your comment, man. Dylan says, when the narcissist calls me away, the narcissist calls me away. He's quoting lyrics from my song Mayhem on the album Emotions. And I got some of that stuff out, and yeah, that's an old song. Like I recorded that maybe a year ago, but you can hear that in that song. I'll disappear, you won't never hear from me again, you know. But the narcissist calls me to who's talking about me, who's sending me a message, who clicked like, you know, all of those things, and that consumes too much of my time as a creator, where I'm answering questions or people are debating with people in chat, and it's like, come on, like how many people is Joel Osteen having debates with that people, you know, inbox him or do videos on him and those kind of things. And so no, I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm nowhere near anything like that, but I am growing to a part of where I can't keep up with them all, and I don't want it to go unlooked. If it's a legitimate question, if it's a legitimate concern, it should be addressed for sure, but it has to go through a team, and it has to go through somebody. So I've been working busy on having people in my life to be able to do that for me. And it's growing pains, and it comes with the territory. So with that being said, for me, for you too, nobody should have the ability or the right to speak whatever they want into your life, to make you deal with it and think a random person, you know, you get 1,000 good comments, but one person lashing out, that's the one that sticks with you for some reason. And I don't know why it does. Maybe it hits home. Maybe it's true. Maybe it makes you doubt yourself. I don't know. But people shouldn't have the ability to do that. And with social media, it's made it where I could come in and actually have those, not just me, but anybody. Like your favorite celebrity, you can inbox them. And if you're lucky, and if they run their own social media, they'll write you back. You know, I've had the same thing with, you know, people I've reached out to get on the show. They write me back, or, you know, but most of the time it's a publicist. Most of the time it's an assistant. It's somebody who's checking their emails because they don't need to just allow anybody to come into their life and do that. So that's for me, and that's for you too. Be careful. People don't know who you are. They don't know your calling. You're gonna waste your time trying to explain yourself to people who they don't have the cognitive ability to even process what the hell you're talking about. You know, they haven't been through that. So when you're going to try to like convince them through a conversation or through something, or Facebook message or Facebook post or whatever, going back and forth with people, it's the worst way to communicate. I hate texting. I had a guy, he heard me on here talk about how I hate texting and I'd rather do voice chat. And he listens to the podcast. He hit me up on Instagram and he was like, hey man, I heard you say you don't like the text, so I'm gonna send you the voice message. What's up, brother? And it was a respectable conversation that we had. And I love that. I enjoy that. I honor that. But I do have people in my life who you know, with a lot of the random stuff, it takes away from stuff that I could be and should be doing as far as creating videos, courses, material, writing more books, like all of the stuff that I'm trying to do that's coming down the pipeline. But social media for me has been you know, something that's, you know, it's taken up, you know, space on your hard drive, in your head. Those comments of people who are unfollowing you, who have been following you for years, and who don't believe in you anymore or think that you're this or that. And that's been going on. That's not new. Like I've always had that. But when it becomes a problem, when it shows back up, it's like, okay, yeah, we got to do something about it. We have to put some type of barrier or resistance in place so they don't do it. I say Joel Osteen. How many debates is Joel Osteen having with crazy heresy hunters? 0. How many is he having with people who thinks he's too open for, they don't like his stance on hell? How many debates is he having with pastors or concerned followers? 0. And not even him. Joel Osteen's really big, right? It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. How many is your pastor? Like my pastor, the church I attend. How many debates is he having on Facebook, or people who, you know, crazy people inbox him? Trust me, I look at their feed and I know crazy people because I know them in real life. And they're inboxing my pastor, and they're commenting on his timeline, their weird, crazy stuff. Like, how much do you interact with that? And how much do you let that get under your skin of anybody who gets to speak into your life? Listen, we've had stalkers. I've went through that whole spiel. If you go back 2 years or so, I had stalkers who made it their point to to try to get access to me, and my address was online and all of this crazy stuff that once you get so big, once your name gets out, you represent different things to different people. To some people, I create beautiful music and it's the soundtrack to their awakening. To some people, I'm a beautiful example of what a Christian should be. To other people, I'm the scum of the earth. I'm their enemy. I represent the things that they hate about themselves, and you do too. You do too. This is vice versa. Check your circle. See who you got speaking into your life, and nobody should have the opportunity, especially random people on the internet, to tear you down. But yeah, Dylan, I did, that stuff I was going through I put it in that album, Emotions. A couple fans want to find me, a couple labels want to sign me, a couple haters, want to find me or whatever. I don't know the lyrics, but you have to go back and listen to it. But I definitely talked about, overbearing fans, you know what I'm saying? And overbearing, and which is a stalker. A fan is a fanatic. If you like the music, you like what I bring to the table, that's one thing, but there should be boundaries in place that people, shouldn't get to step over. It's like if you block somebody, they create 17 more pages so they can keep messaging you. I don't need that in my life. And you don't either. Right? I'm just trying to help you. And it's growing pains. I don't have nobody showing me how it's done. I don't have somebody a level ahead of me, 7 levels ahead of me. I got a couple. I'll say that. I got a couple, but it's never a step-by-step process. I do have some friends of mine who are operating at pretty interesting levels as far as having a team set up and emails in place and those kind of things. And I have their personal email, right? And so if I want to get in touch with that person, I can email them versus, just a random person on the internet. Your mental health is key, especially right now. We're losing friends, we're losing family members because of social media schisms. You guys know what a schism is, right? It's a difference in religious or philosophical opinion, a church split because of a difference of something that you said, a doctrinal belief. And we got a lot of that stuff. And so that come up because I represent different things to different people. When you say my name around them or they say my name, they mean something different. And it's definitely getting into other areas as far as I'm not able to create, and I'm on social media too much to answer questions. Like I got blog ideas. I got more books that are already started. I've got daily, I got mystical devotionals that I've got ideas. Half of it's already written, but to finish it, you gotta see what is holding you back. And it's something that's holding me back. But I love interacting with genuine people and people who aren't being weird on the internet and those kind of things. But you just gotta kind of wade through them. It is what it is with, like he said, as far as 50 people if 50 people have the experience, one person has that bad experience. And it's usually like that, 50 dope comments and then one bad one, or one rebuke or one swift rebuke and stuff. And not that they have the right to speak into your life or they're even right about what they're saying, because they don't understand and they're set on misunderstanding you, whether it's the words or terminology that I use or people that I embrace and people that I choose to love in life and to show grace to that they would never show grace to. And I become their enemy. Literally, they unfollow me because I'm not telling gay people they're going to hell. You start a podcast and you tell gay people they're going to hell and we'll see how that works out for you. No, do it, have fun. And people want you to speak their message, man. People want you to parrot what they believe. And obviously when you get an audience, a lot of times, or you keep that audience, is you parrot what they believe, and I've never, catered to one side or the other with a lot of things. I play the devil's advocate. It's a beautiful role. It's somewhere in the middle. And most of you guys who listen are somewhere in the middle. You're not far right. You're not far left. You're not all this. You're not all that. You're somewhere in the middle, which is a narrow path that we're on. And it's hard to banter to one side or the other when you play the middle. But I found that there's much peace in that place. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And I do think that that's what the narrow road is, that few find. Either full this or full that, all this or all that. No, because a real truth seeker can look at this stuff and extract the good out of it. I can look at Islam and say, hey man, they got some really cool things that maybe I should apply to my life. Maybe I should have a deeper devotional prayer life. Maybe I should every so and so hours of the day stop and give honor and glory to the Creator. Like, you look at all things and extract the good from it. And that's what we do. And I know that that is my audience. That is the people who really get what I'm bringing to the table. And yeah, I'm your mouthpiece. I have the podcast and I talk about this, and there's similar beliefs. You don't, if I'm on here, some people, you know, listening, they hate everything I say. They keep listening. They like the guests, they hate me. Other people love me and hate my guests, all of them, you know. And so I get all of that stuff and all of that feedback from audiences, and it messes with you with creating, it messes with you in moving forward, or who to have on the show and what to even speak on. But the biggest thing, you know, even the other day I had some stuff I was working on, and some guy's like, hey man, I'm gonna call you on Messenger, and he just told me all of these things why I'm deceived and going to hell. It's like, hold on, you ain't even got the right to, you don't even know me. Like, we don't even do life together. You don't even, all you see is what I show you on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got these random people who got access to you. No, you got to talk to Richie first. What up, Richie?
Bless.
You got to talk to Richie first, man. You got to talk to Maria first. You got to go through somebody. Is it, you know, and same, you know, with everything. You got to do it mentally, in your head. Find your team, find your people that suck at, that are good at what you suck at. I suck at, you know, random people hitting me up and wanting to converse, and I'll stop what I'm doing for freaking 2 hours and talk to people, and I don't get anything accomplished as far as what I'm put here to do. Yeah, we had a great conversation or whatever, but there's times that I make myself available for conversations like this. Even if you do disagree, come on the air and disagree with me. Like, whether you want to join Patreon or you want to, you know, have access to this Zoom, message me. You know, I don't care. Like, I'll debate you. I used to do that. Like, I can do it. You know, I play the devil's advocate. I know all of it. I know pros, cons, shoulds, you know, good reasons, bad reasons, why you shouldn't, why this could be the truth. And so I've studied and I've been around so much that it's hard to take that hard left or hard right. So if I'm going to take a hard left or hard right on anything, it is about love. It is about grace. It's about forgiveness. It is about, you know, supernatural forgiveness, radical love. You know what I'm saying? Because those are the things that have the power to change somebody's life in a positive way. Fear, judgment, condemnation, it didn't help me, and it never helped anybody. Even if you're using the scriptures, most people don't even give a damn about them scriptures. They don't understand them. Your Christianese. You got to be able to break it down in a practical way, and not even tell them, but show them. When you show somebody that love, when you show somebody grace, when you show them forgiveness, it speaks volumes. And so you guys know that's what I'm about, but not everybody knows that. So because, again, I'm a polarizing character. I talk about, we discuss so many subjects that are contradictory in people's minds. Everything works together. But in some people's minds, there's a hang up and there's a disconnect. Like, yeah, you can't be a Christian and talk about astrology. Want to bet? The Bible's full of astrology. You can't be a Christian and talk about magic. You want to bet? The Bible's full of magical stories and supernatural summonings and things like that. And like, you know, maybe it's that word that you're caught up on because the Bible doesn't use that word per se. Or maybe it does. Maybe it does. There's something beautiful we've been talking about a little bit. It's just the fact that the word for bewitched is the same word that you get for I think it's amazed, where Jesus would perform a miracle and the people were astonished. They were taken back. He used it in to do something good, to help people. But somebody would do the same thing for a negative reason, and it's the same word that is used like in the Greek and Hebrew, which means bewitched, but the term is used bewitched for depending on who did it. So when it comes down to somebody who is a Berean, somebody who studies words and wordplay and the true meanings and definitions of words, people are bound up because of words. They receive word curses. They perish for a lack of knowledge, their own misunderstanding. And it's not that there's a lack of knowledge out there. It's just a lack of their hunger and desire to do the work. And so obviously I know that that's my community. I know that's my audience. You guys are word people. Adam Starseed Bay's in the chat right now. He's a word guy. He loves to break down words and the true meanings, and because we're speaking spells and things over ourselves. Listen, that's all in my music. White magic. People, a bunch of Christian people, even like close friends, have like unfollowed me and stuff because I've named my album White Magic. They think that it's seance ritual. They think that it means like Aleister Crowley, or they think it means like animal sacrifices, and they have all this connotation when they hear that word. They don't have magic when I'm using it, as especially white magic. And then there's a definition, there's an intro to the album of Manly P. Hall telling you what white magic is. It is only to be used by those who are virtuous, only of those who are trying to help humanity. There's no, it's not done for personal reasons. And so there's this parameters of what white magic is. And so for me, everything spiritual is magical. When I speak something and create it out of my mouth, that's magic. And because it's used in a good connotation, in a good way, that's white magic. Now, if I curse you and cut you down and meet you back on that level and speak all manner of evil against you, if I gossip, if I slander, that's black magic, because it's witchcraft. Yeah. Magic isn't witchcraft. Manipulation is witchcraft used in a negative connotation. You're cursing people. You're speaking evil. You're bearing false witness against your neighbor. People are coming to me, TruthSeekah, you serving the devil. Man, you bearing false witness. I serve Christ. Jesus Christ, not just a universal cosmic Christ. I'm devoted to Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't matter that people are set on misunderstanding you. And so we're wasting time trying to explain ourselves to people who can't get it. They're cognitive that they can't get it. Again, you have to go through similar experiences. What we have to do is find creative ways to break it down so that even a child can get, right? And it would be easier for them because there's less programming. So when they say break it down where a child can get it, it's easier than an adult who's set in their ways. They've been taught by religion their whole life. They've been, you know what I'm saying? When you say this word, it only means that. When they see a rainbow, they only think of this. When they see a star, they only think of that, right? Everything has multiple meanings, and I love it. I love getting down to the origins and the roots of Christmas, the origins and the roots of Easter, the origins and the roots of holding your hands in the air in prayer up to God, like it says in the scripture. That comes from Eastern tradition. That's a mudra, pushpaputa. You receive a download from the Creator, and people are doing that. Listen, I love syncretism, how we're all in this thing together. And so any boundaries or any borders that we have created are fake. They're an illusion to separate ourselves in a little box that ain't even real. It's not even real. That box that you've placed of religion and words and philosophies and what you have called something, or what you've been told something means, it becomes a prison that you're in when it comes to freedom and truth. The Bible says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. But your truth has turned into a prison, and it ain't setting nobody free. So that's what we got to look at, the fruit. We got to look at the impact that our words have, that our magic has, that our prayers have, right? Everything has to be under scrutiny. We got to hold the magnifying glass up to everything in order to get clear on it, and to always examine yourself. And see if there be any wicked way in me. See if I messed up. See if I'm off. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be having some of these conversations with the audience, but I've always just been open because I can show you better than I can tell you. So as I'm going through something, I'm trying to articulate it. I've articulated my spiritual awakening. I've articulated what it's like to be praying under the stars and UFOs come out of portals and at your command. Like, I've tried to articulate it through music and through podcasts and what happens when I pray. And I know it helps people because other people are going through similar experiences as well. And as I read the chat, it's confirmation. I know other people are like, yeah, man, I got all these people who have access to me. And those people who have access to you, who are watching and stalking your pages, most of them even hindering you because you hold back because of the fear of their judgment, the fear of what they're going to say if they see you. What I talk about, going live, praying for people on Facebook. How's he praying for people? He just went through this situation. I know stuff on people, man, and people are going through stuff for sure. But it gives you the ability to speak to something that you really mean it, and you have the authority. Why? Because you're going through it. You're going through it. And so start you another Facebook, quit your social media. I know people say I want to quit it, but I use it for my business. Me too. You wouldn't know I have a new album coming out if you didn't see it on YouTube, Facebook, email blast, whatever. So yeah, we got to get those. We got to get the ideas. We got to get the stuff out there. But I don't have the time anymore, and I don't think you do either.
Bless,
I don't think you
got
do
a little
either.
bit to rein in, if that's all right.
Go ahead, brother.
For sure. Gratitude and many thanks for the conversation. It's an important one that we have. And I think I want to go to the mineral kingdom, the drinks and the tea and the plant medicines. That's plant kingdom. And some people mess with the animal messengers as too. But I'm talking down to the mineral kingdom. You talked about a prison and separating. And I want to look at a prism for a minute, and that wonderful creation crystalline form that light can come through and split into other fields. I agree that our words are arbitrary definitions. Like we have our own separate little dialogues and our own separate little dictionaries. But straight up, if I didn't know my right arm from somebody else's right arm, we'd have a problem in the world. So I got to have some division of my experiences versus somebody else's experience. And I know that for me, I'm really open. I'm really loving. I'm really accepting to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that through time, I got to be really aware of who I'm around, because whoever I'm around, I'm going to forgive you because I believe in you. But there are some people who take a saddle seat real close to me and start acting a fool, and then bank on my forgiveness, and then try to turn my forgiveness into an engine for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that same kind of thing, what I'm hearing you say is you've now reached a new level of your circle. You got to make sure that you're not the front door anymore, because you're deep in the tabernacle, keeping things real. And anybody who's been connected to this broadcast, this podcast, this is a prayer performance. You're really here with us, friend. I can tell you're not looking at some script, going some things. Hey guys, I'm doing this pre-scripted thing where it's all totally off the cuff. And then after it's done, I'm going to go, and everybody's going to go, man, I'm glad that he's no longer pretending to be who he's not, instead of you actually living the seeking of the truth. And your vibe is your tribe, and tribe has got your back. So set up those boundaries and walls.
Yeah.
We're here for you.
Yeah, that's growing pains too, though, because just like you said, and I've talked to you, Richie, many times about why you're here and why you stayed. And it was because I was accessible. I don't think you would be here if we didn't have School of the Mystics, if we didn't have Discord, if we didn't roll ideas. And so even with that and growing,
I mean,
there's that, like, hey, what do I do? Because
so
if
it
I
boils
change
down
the
to actually,
format,
you showed up.
So leaves.
The availability is important. School of the Mystics is good. I don't think there's got to be like a set cast. I think if School of the Mystics people show up and it's like a container in a field, people can drop in and drop out for the set amount of time. But pretty specifically, Truth stopped in School of the Mystics for a couple of years, dropping in and out. Hey, how's it going? It's on the Spirit forums come up. That's super cool. Big on the forums and the BBS. Everybody, if you can, check out TruthSeekahs forums. That's a good stuff. I ended up working a gig. I did a favor for my college professor, and I worked with some celebrity types. And I was with people really, really high up that kind of food chain. And it was really powerful for me. And so when I got near the conclusion of that experience and they were trying to renew my contract with them, I decided that I wanted to kind of unload. And I reached out on Discord, where had connected from your Discord, from your Patreon, from your School of the Mystics. I said, hey, I got something to talk about. Do you have a moment? And you showed up totally real. Yeah. Hey man, what's up? No pre-expectation. No. Yeah. Well, what's up? Make sure you buy my meditation. You know what I mean? Like none of it, not like you were shopping something at me. You're like, hey, can we talk? And I said, yeah, this is what I've been through. And I could feel it. We didn't even have video on. It was just audio. I could feel it. That pregnant pause of you digesting what I said and be like, wow. Okay. And then rolling through it. And from that point in time, that was like the foundation nail. The spike got driven. Sweet. I know you're real. I know you're grounded. I could tell some people crazy, fantastic things about my life, and they'll get slack-jawed and totally be lost and amazed at what happened, rather than seeing like, whoa, hey, that's you? You're in this? Absolutely. So in that same kind of way, the world is changing. And now everybody's reaching out all over the internet for connection. And I think it's important for some of us to develop some thicker skin, some stronger scales, and specifically to move in packs and to swim like a school of fish, so that we can protect each other and we can all kind of move in this way. But much gratitude always.
For sure. Yeah, that's it. And that's the thing. Like, I've done that. I've went out of my way to do that because I needed that on my journey, right? So I needed to show up and be that for other people, for you, for whoever. I'm available. But obviously, you know, when you get bigger, you know, those, you know, 6 messages a day, that's one thing. 60 messages a day are another of everybody who wants an hour of your time. Do you pick choose? You know, what do you do? You know, do you make a mystic circle? Do you create a FAQ that people want to know, hey, what's the intro song on your on your podcast? They don't have to message me. They just go to FAQ. Oh, wow. It's this.
For sure. I think that's a great way. Is it Flight of the Navigator? Is that the one that's the
Imaginatrix. No, I'm tripping.
Imaginatrix.
No, I'm tripping.
Golden Teachers?
Inner Reaches of Outer Space.
Very good.
I get that a lot though. What is that song? What is that song? And I've yet to make a FAQ, which I'm about to do.
Okay, maybe like a little, commonly asked questions. I see like an ecosystem, looking in a garden, looking at an environment. You had some soft grass, maybe a little bit of moss, maybe a couple little flowers in here, some daisies and some ferns. Now there's a whole bunch of animals. We got elephants and giraffes, hippopotamuses, all sorts of creatures in there eating some of the foliage, rightfully so, because they're hungry, and then they're releasing the seeds, so they're sharing the good word. But this time, okay, maybe you can put together some different lichen. You can get together a couple different kinds of shrubs, create a little awning, little path, little picket fence. Design the reality so that other people can support more fully. Because I think it's awesome that you interact with the people who are listening in that kind of candorous, open, conversative way. On the same token, a lot of people are scared of that. So the fact that you even do hey, let's talk to the audience, let's just chat without some, guest in a can, without somebody kind of prepped up, that's a big deal, brethren.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, a lot of people, you hear them, they're scared to join School of the Mystics because I get to talk to my favorite rapper. I get to talk to my favorite podcaster. But, I think there should be ways where we could do that. There should be ways where Busy Bone comes on the TruthSeekah podcast and hangs out because I asked him to. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Maybe like a monthly TruthSeekah with guest, and then everybody's talking to the crowd rather than just a back and forth. But totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's going to be some changes around here, guys. There has to be some change. And listen, it's growth when you grow. And I have so much that I'm working on. And maybe this is just it's not an excuse, right? But because I definitely found myself even the other day of just like having a deadline for some graphic stuff that I was working on, and then feeling like I owed it to that person who had genuine concerns to talk to me or whatever. And I didn't even know the person for real. Like I interviewed him on a podcast one time, but as far as connection goes, like that's it. You don't know me. We don't do life together. So to be able to, make yourself available for anybody who disagrees with your doctrine or your stance on this, it's like, take get in line. You know what I'm saying? Get in line, First, people need to talk to my family, my wife, my daughter, for people who want to scrutinize me or have something to say, right? But
we get roundtable interviews before people come up. Like, hey, are you ready?
Yeah. Yep. So it's all about growing. If anybody has any ideas or anybody who's doing it the right way, hit me up. I will say my friend Tarek, who's been a huge blessing in my life, and for somebody who's doing certain things on a bigger scale, right? And just so he has a team. And it works flawlessly. And he had to train them, and he put people in place to answer emails. He put people in place to work on infographics. And I've been talking to Richie about this, and I did hire my first online assistant, and I can offload some things where I don't have to do it, and I don't have to email, certain guests or whatever, or potential guests. I say, hey, I'm interested in that person, send them an email for me. Right on it. Boom. It's done. Like, okay, wow, they sent it out. So-and-so responded. Boom. They booked it on the calendar. Wow, that was easy. Right? Taking some of the load off. You know what I'm saying? So that we can duplicate ourselves. That's what a disciple is. Listen, let me pour into you everything that I do. Whether you're an apprentice, whether you're somebody who's learning to do it for yourself, that's one thing. But it's somebody who's like, listen, I don't want to have a podcast. I just want to help promote yours. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? So finding those people, and it's usually more than one. It's about building a team. When I talk about building a team, it's getting people who are good at stuff that you suck at. And, I'm trying to do that. So if anybody wants to help, on some of that stuff, whether it's you're a graphic artist or you want to make clips of the podcast, like, that takes up a full day of me making clips from segments that people aren't going to listen to the full episode, but they will listen to a 5-minute segment about the machine elves, you know. So finding ways to and time to do all of it. So again, Tarek has been a huge inspiration. He helped me with, you know, he's one of my coaches. You know, I you know, he's a friend, but he's a coach too. He's, you know, I hire him to spend time to pour into me and to show me things that he's doing. I mean, about working with a coach or being under somebody as an apprentice. It's like, listen, you're already operating in this. Show me, because I need an upgrade on these levels. I wish I can talk to even bigger people, right? I wish I can talk to, you know, Teal Swan. You know, some of these people are available for sessions, not all of them. What's the guy's name? Ralph Smart. Breathe it in that good ass prana, baby. Yeah. Like, he's available for sessions. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe I need to book him and say, hey man, what'd you do about your barrier to entry? Like, I know you got millions of followers now. I don't, but you know, maybe that time comes. It doesn't even take millions. Like, if he would have put that in place at millions of followers, he probably wouldn't have been at millions of followers, because he would have been answering questions and debating and defending all day, when you know, we have people to do that for us. So it's about growth, man. The kingdom is moving. It is about growth. It's not about being stagnant. It's not about standing still. It's about expanding. Listen, I prayed the prayer of Jabez 20 years ago, and it was that, oh God, that you would expand my borders, that you would expand my tent post and those things. And that thing was huge back in the Christian realm. We prayed this prayer, and listen, 20 years later, it's happening. The prayer of Jabez finally came to pass, and more people are coming in, and then there's more people that we're reaching, and new opportunities and new levels and stuff. So listen, it is about expansion and learning to grow, and the growing pains that come along with that. I love my community. I love everyone who shows up in these chats every day. The new people who pop in and say what's up, and the new comments like, oh my God, I can't believe I found your music and your podcast, and it was divine appointment, and I'm in tears watching your videos. Listen, I love it, you know, but you get the positive, you get the good and the bad. They come together. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. Thank you guys for hanging out in the chat. I see everybody there. Flying Penguin just here. And I see you. Thank you for your comments as well, brother. And thank you for showing up and continuing to show up and being a part of the community as well. And I, you know, there's a difference when you have again, that close circle. Like Jesus had, you know, 12 disciples, right? Because he could pour himself into those people. Like, he could really train them and teach them up. And I have courses, I have programs where I, you know, take 9 people under my wing for 8 weeks, and it's not just for those 8 weeks. That's how we become friends. We build from there, and I know what you're doing and how I can help and how you can help me. So there's those things that happen too. Jesus had 12, and then even within those 12, I believe he had 3 that were really close, that actually had his passwords. And I'll just say that it's perfect terms, had his passwords, because he trusted them. He had people that he did trust, and they abused his trust too. There was Judases within the circle, and that's part of it. There's treasurers. Judas had a job to deal with the money. Listen, you know, maybe got to hire somebody. I deal with it all: budget, money, ad spend, ad rev, what programs we're paying for, like all of it is just me. It is a full-time job, but yeah, it is my full-time job. But being able to delegate is huge. And I've been knowing I had to do it for years. It's been spoken over my life through prophets and through psychics and through cards and just through synchronicities. A lot of people have noticed it, but being able to even know how to do it is another thing. It goes back to this conversation that we had today. You know, my guest today, Derek, he said that he knew he needed to quit doing drugs and coke and crystal meth and all of that. He wanted to quit. He knew he needed to quit, but his body was like on autopilot. Why? He knew he needed to do it. He didn't know how. He didn't have a blueprint. He didn't have a plan. So he had to go within, and he had to get it. And that's where ayahuasca came in as a teacher. myself. I know there's things that I need to do. I've been hearing it. I've been seeing it. The universe is confirming it. How do you do it? I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm trying to ask people, and you pick up on little things that people say that are operating at a higher level and telling you places to look and things to do and what to delegate. And I'm such a creative that things have to look a certain way. Like things have to, you know, if I work on animation with somebody for the podcast and they got me looking weird, or I've had one guy, you know, they did my animations and my dreadlocks were really short, like up to my chin. I say, hey, I got long dreads, bro. You got to work on that. You know what I'm saying? It's like little stuff like that. But I like it. It's part of the creative process. It's part of having that vision, but being able to delegate. I could have learned how to make that animation myself, and it would have taken me, you know, 4 months probably to be the only thing that I can work on, because I'm studying, I'm watching videos, I'm trial and error. How do you get over this? How do you get over that? Versus, boom, let's hire somebody who's a good animator who can actually knock it out in 3 days. Give him the whole script. He knocks it out in 3 days. We keep it moving. Don't get caught up. You got to delegate. Tiffany says, Tart got assistance from Fiverr, I think. No, he uses Upwork. He said he started with Fiverr. That's good for flyers and stuff like that. And hey, I started with Upwork. I found some people that are good at what they do, and they're helping me, and they're willing to learn. And yeah, that's where I went. And building a team, you know, so it is what it is. So with that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom, guys. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Misty. She just joined the Mystic Circle. I've seen that. Good to see you. Tiffany, Kevin, all of you guys in the chat. I see your comments there. With that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom. New album comes out tomorrow. For those of you watching live, it comes out the 6th. The pre-order physical autograph copies are going to be a few more days. I'm waiting for them to come in any day. I just got the confirmation that they finally shipped yesterday. I had to order a good bit of them, but those will be out, autographed, and sent out to everybody within the next few days. So you already have the access to the full link and all that cool stuff. But if you don't haven't heard it yet, make sure you go check your email. You can check it out. We got a retreat coming up November the 20th, Mobile, Alabama. Bunch of cool stuff. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll do it again very soon. Love y'all. Shalom, shalom. Peace, peace.
Your way so much higher than mine. So much higher than mine. So much deeper than mine. So much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.